My presentation is a journey through the mind of an independent conference producer, and I'm going to talk about how I decide what kind of conferences I'm going to own and produce. And basically it's just going to be the choosing and then the end, not the in-between actual running of the conference. So I'm an independent conference producer, which means that I can produce any kind of conference I want on any kind of topic. I own it. I don't have to get approval from anybody. I can do it how I want, when I want it, and where I want to do it. So I don't have to deal with the issues of, how can I convince my boss to do a peer session? I'm lucky in that way. I'm also an independent conference and expo producer, so I'm all on my own. We were talking on our walk, and I thought my mistakes are my responsibility. I can't blame them on anybody else. If something is a total flop, that was all me. So that's the downside. How do I get my ideas? I'm going to be referring to one particular conference I have in the works now, and basically it came from talking to a lot of bankers, accountants, and lawyers about a need that their small and mid-sized business owners had. I started hearing the theme repeated over and over again, and I thought, there's a hole, I need to fill it. So thus, this conference came about. Talked to some small business owners, kind of to do a survey to see, are they right? Is this something that they'd really be interested in? Turns out, it looks like it is. So, that 20 seconds was long. So when I start planning a conference, I start at the end. I think about my attendee and what they're going to feel when they walk out the door at the end of the conference. What do I want them to learn? What do I want them to experience? How I want them to feel? Do I want them to learn something, or do I want them to be motivated? So I kind of get that picture in my head, and then everything goes from there. Budgeting happens throughout the entire event, but what I first do is figure out how much is something like this going to cost me about, how much can I get people to pay for it, and how much money can I raise through sponsorship and exhibiting, and that sort of thing. If it looks like it's going to work, then I can proceed forward. Then I pick my primary audience. Who's my, who are they, what do they look like, what do they do, psychographic and demographic information, and really narrow it down. And in this case, it was narrowed down to CEOs and CFOs of small to mid-sized business, and small business being the SBA definition. Next, I look at who my secondary audience is going to be, and do I have one? So in this case, the secondary audience would be, because they're small business owners, they might have hired an accounting firm to work with them, or a tax attorney. So they're my secondary audience that would be interested in coming to this event. Then I think about speakers. Am I going to have one big speaker? This is a day conference, or do I want panelists? And in this case, I decided that I need a wide range of opinions and expertise, so I'm going to put it together as a panel presentation. Where do I get my speakers? I'm an avid fan of NPR, and I figure if they're good enough for Terry Gross and Marty Moscowane, then they're good enough for my audience. And I can really they have like a lot of different, when they have speakers on their shows, they'll have differing opinions, so I can really get some good names from that. Also from reading magazines, books, trade journals, blogs, communities. I look and see who are the people that seem to really know about this topic, and who do people refer to all the time in their industry, and so then I gather those names as well. But I have a problem. This is a totally new conference. These people don't know me, they've never heard of me. I have no list. I don't have a community to go after. So getting attendees to this conference is going to be tricky. I can rent a list, that's one thing, but again, I don't have any credibility with the audience. So the first thing I do is go after a media partner. I'm looking at magazines that target my audience, and a partner that could benefit from this event by getting more advertising dollars and subscribers. So that's how, and they also lend credibility to the event because they're a big name. Once I have my media partner on board, I can look at sponsors, because they see that media partner and say, okay, this is legit. Then I can go after my big national sponsors, and although I don't do sponsorships as logos, they're more involved, and I really want my sponsors to get involved in the event. Then after that, I decide, am I going to have exhibits? And in this case, it'll probably be, because they're regional events, they'll probably just be like tabletop exhibits or pop-up exhibits, maybe just 10 to 15 exhibitors. But this gives a chance for the local businesses that reach that specific target to get involved in the event. It's also another revenue stream. Then I consider venues. A lot of times I like to use universities as a venue because, again, it lends credibility to the event, because somebody going to spend a day at University of Pennsylvania sounds a lot better than I'm going to the Holiday Inn for a day. So those are the things I take into consideration for the venue. Then I have to put together my team, because I'm one person, I can't do it all. I look and find out, who do I know in the industry that has expertise that I need? Is it in sponsorships or booth sales or logistics and that sort of thing? And I kind of collaborate on each event with a team. And that can change from event to event. Then, event's over. I have kind of a post-mortem with all the people that are involved, my sponsors, my exhibitors, my attendees, representatives saying, and collaborators saying, what went right, what didn't work, is this viable to do this again, and continue it. If it is, if everybody's on board, then we go and do it again. And finally, I take all the content that we got from that conference and start pushing it out to our media partners so that they can publish it, put it on the website, and give it to sponsors, exhibitors, and the attendees so that we can keep it going all year long, and next year will be easier. And that's it. You never did this before? No. I'm exhausted.
It's tough to do.